Engines scream, lights blur, one wrong move, and everything explodes into chaos. Glass flies, hearts pound, silence follows. This is real, this is raw. Hold your breath and buckle up. An intoxicated driver raced down the road, smashing into everything in his way. After parking, he strolled off as if nothing occurred, but officers soon apprehended him. At a busy junction, two cars head toward the same green light. Neither eases off, and their paths converge in a sharp, sudden smash. The car ahead begins to weave unpredictably. Moments later, the driver behind can't react in time, and a sudden crash ensues. The helicopter descends cautiously toward the touchdown area, but an abrupt lean turns accuracy into calamity as it slams down on contact. The rider attempts to load his motorbike into the back of a pickup using a simple ramp. But as the front wheel reaches the truck bed, balance is lost, and both man and machine tumble to the ground. The rocket ascends, engines thunder with potential, but within mere seconds it drops back to the pad and detonates in a searing flash, a breathtaking yet horrifying scene. A speeding boat slices swiftly across the water, but strikes a taut cable. In an instant, the vessel flips over, hurling everything into chaos. A small courier van moves steadily down the crowded street. Then, moments later, it detonates without warning, transforming the routine drive into turmoil. A car loses control on the slick road, sliding sideways. In a heartbeat, it crosses into oncoming traffic, straight into the path of a huge truck. A driver starts drifting in a supermarket car park, tires screeching across the tarmac. But control slips away, and the car smashes straight into the shopping cart bay. A compact car grazes the side of an SUV while changing lanes. The hit sends the larger vehicle tumbling over in a violent spin. Two heavy lorries collide with a thunderous impact. Moments later, one of them ignites, sending thick smoke billowing into the sky. At a busy junction, two cars approach from different directions at high speed. In a split second, one slams into the side of the other, the crash echoing through the crossing. The car slides on the slick road and drifts across the center line. In the next moment, it crashes head-on with an approaching vehicle. The small car fishtails out of control on the slick road. It slides straight into a parked truck, the impact reverberating through the quiet street. A car speeds toward a junction as another begins to turn. With the road glazed in ice, the driver has no chance to stop, and the collision is sudden and severe. As the race starts, the car veers erratically across the circuit. Moments later, white smoke billows from its engine before it slams violently into the barrier. The car miscalculates the gap and gently taps a motorcycle slowing ahead. Fortunately, the rider maintains his balance and no one is injured.
From Victor Martins, is he going to take the lead from Alex Dunn? Oh!
During the race, a single error triggers a domino effect. Cars spin out, collide, and stack up in a massive wreck across the track. The car slides across the icy road, tires spinning futilely. A moment later, it crashes into a roadside pole with a brutal jolt. A heavy lorry loses traction on the icy road, its trailer lurching uncontrollably. Within seconds, it crosses the center line and slams into another truck coming from the opposite direction. A truck hauls a car on a rope, moving steadily along the bumpy road. When it strikes a hump, the towed vehicle sways violently to the side, smashing into several parked cars, leaving a wake of damage behind. A truck thunders down the road when flames suddenly erupt from its chassis. Within seconds, the vehicle is engulfed, forcing the driver to stop and bail out. Roadside poles came crashing down onto the passing vehicles, but thankfully, no one was hurt. A small car travels too near a heavy lorry on a crowded road. In an instant, it's pulled beneath the enormous wheels, leaving no time to respond.
Samochód zjechał. O Boże!
A driver backs up to make a turn, unaware of the steep drop behind. Miscalculating the distance, the car slips backward and plunges straight into the ravine. A speeding car barrels forward without easing up. In a split second, it slams into the vehicle in front with a heavy impact. A car blasts through a red light, disregarding the danger. From the right, a massive truck charges into the junction, plowing into the car before rolling over it. A truck brakes abruptly, forcing the cars behind it to swerve, unable to stop in time. As it veers into the oncoming lane, a small car appears, and the crash becomes inevitable. Two cars end up in a strange crash, one teetering on top of the other's bonnet. When the lower car backs up, the one above slams down with a loud thud. Losing control, the car veers onto the shoulder. There, it slams into another vehicle already traveling along the edge of the road. An ordinary day on the roadway turns chaotic in a heartbeat as two vehicles smash together. One erupts in flames while stunned motorists hurry to assist from a safe distance. While overtaking on the icy road, the car loses grip. It slides sideways into the oncoming lane and collides with an approaching vehicle. Attempting to pass on an icy road, the driver loses control as the tires slide sideways. Within moments, the car drifts into oncoming traffic and catastrophe becomes unavoidable. The motorist pulls to the side after noticing odd sounds from his vehicle. When he lifts the hood, smoke starts billowing out, thickening quickly as the motor overheats. A Kamaz lorry rolls over the crossing just as a train nears. In a heartbeat, the hulking engine rams it, hauling the truck for several meters and leaving only mangled debris in its wake. The driver tried to pass in the opposing lane, but misjudged the gap, causing a serious collision, a reminder to stay vigilant on the road. Inside a repair shop, a luxury car is raised for maintenance. But when the supports give way, the vehicle drops to the floor, sustaining severe damage in seconds.
Meu Deus!
On a country road, a buffalo charges after a fleeing man. Cornered, it rears onto two legs and crashes into a nearby car with a burst of raw force. The vessel glides calmly over the water, its occupants at ease and unsuspecting. Suddenly, fire breaks out on deck, and the crew scrambles frantically to extinguish the blaze. Two cars enter the junction at the same moment, a split-second misjudgment, and they collide in the middle of the crossing. Two aircraft converge in the clear air, their trajectories tragically aligned. In an instant, they smash head-on. One corkscrews out of control and slams down in a blazing plunge. An intoxicated driver swerves erratically along the roadside. Again and again, he smashes into the barriers, turning the roadway into a scene of havoc. The small car loses grip on the icy road, veering erratically from side to side. A heartbeat later, it slides into opposing traffic, crashing head-on with another vehicle. The truck lost control and slammed into a car, a stark reminder of how quickly crashes can happen.
Voglio vedere se passa.
A truck drives beneath a bridge, misjudging its clearance. The roof scrapes the underside, sending bits of concrete crumbling down from above. During takeoff, the aircraft struggles to stabilize. Suddenly, it pitches downward and crashes, followed by a massive blast that illuminates the runway. The plane picks up speed along the runway, engines thunder with power. Suddenly it comes apart and detonates, turning the takeoff into a blazing catastrophe. The truck driver doesn't realize his vehicle has rolled under a fence. As he steps on the accelerator, the truck strains against the metal until the rear wheels lift off the ground, pinned by the barrier behind. A large cargo truck is parked at the shoulder, smoke slowly lifting from its bonnet as bystanders take out their phones, filming in shock while flames start to spread. A car moves to pass, unaware of another vehicle right behind it. After a brief cutoff, the driver panics, yanks the wheel, and the car spins out, smashing into a roadside fence. The video captures a single curb where vehicles of every kind keep wrecking. Cars, motorcycles, even scooters. It's as if this stretch of road is jinxed, claiming one driver after another. Sparks flicker softly along the overhead wiring. Moments later, the electrics flare into flame, sending fire racing across the ceiling panels. The race car clings to the rim of the circuit, showers of sparks shooting from its wheels. But as it grinds along the barrier, flames burst out, swallowing the machine in moments. A car stalls on the railway tracks, its driver paralyzed by fear. Just in time, another driver rushes over with a tow rope and hauls the vehicle to safety moments before calamity. At the junction, a driver ran a red light and smashed into a turning car at full speed. Then they fled the scene immediately after the crash. The plane descends unevenly, struggling to regain stability. Then, in a devastating instant, it slams straight into the ground with immense force. A motorcyclist rides onto the railway lines, unaware of the approaching train. In the last second, he leaps clear as his bike is smashed beneath the speeding locomotive. Losing control at high speed, the car veers off the road. In the next instant, it slams into a tree, the force of the impact leaving no margin for error. A car reverses out of a parking space but veers off course. It grinds along the sidewalk railing, warping metal with each jolt. A passing van drives onto the railway crossing without noticing the oncoming train. Within seconds, it's hit by the speeding train in a powerful, unstoppable crash. The driver loses command as the car slides across the slick roadway. In a heartbeat, it slams into a traffic signal, bringing the turmoil to an end. A compact car tries to pass on a narrow stretch of road. In an instant, it crashes head-on with an oncoming truck. A motorcyclist rides too close to the riverbank. At the last moment, his friend leaps off, but the bike and its rider plunge straight into the water. At the junction, one car begins a cautious turn, but another speeding straight through crashes into it. The quiet street erupts with the sound of impact. The car strikes a deep pothole at top speed, one that acts like a ramp. In an instant, it launches into the air, soaring several meters before smashing back down onto the road. Disregarding the red light, the driver accelerates, convinced he'll make it through. A split second later, another car slams into his side, a stark reminder that rushing on the road can cost dearly. A truck's tire suddenly blows out, the sound echoing across the road. Losing control, it swerves into the adjacent lane and collides with a passing car. Losing control, a heavy truck careens forward uncontrollably. It plows into the vehicles ahead, sparking a massive and terrifying domino effect crash. A compact car pulls out to pass, misjudging the gap ahead. In an instant, it crashes head-on with an oncoming lorry. A bus fails to spot the car in front and slams straight into it. Pinned between two buses, the small car is mangled in a terrifying press of metal and glass. A driver runs the red and rolls onto the railway crossing just as the gates drop. Moments later, a fast-moving train plows into the deserted car, ripping it apart on impact. An intoxicated driver zigzags down the street in mayhem. One after another, parked cars fall prey to his reckless route. A truck makes a turn with a long metal beam jutting from its bed. The beam spans the roadway, and the car behind plows straight into it, unable to stop in time. The car's driver dozed off and drifted into the opposing lane. The truck struck at top speed, leaving no chance to get away. The lorry driver fails to notice a small car trying to change lanes. In a terrifying instant, the vehicle is trapped and crushed between two towering trucks. A small car loses traction on the ice, sliding sideways with no control. Moments later, it slips off the road and comes to a stop on the snowy shoulder. Two cars enter the junction at the same time. Neither driver gives way, and their sudden crash sends debris flying across the roadway. A car cuts off a smaller vehicle, trying to force its way ahead, but karma hits quickly. It loses control, overturns, and tumbles off the roadway. Two cars enter the junction from different directions, neither gives way, and their crash sends a sharp jolt through the crossing. The small car slips on the icy road, spinning out of control. In a split second, it smashes into an oncoming vehicle, a brief loss of grip turning into a serious crash. The bus swerves wildly as the driver struggles to regain control. Moments later, It crashes into the roadside barrier with a shuddering impact. Late at night in a car dealership, everything seems calm. Then suddenly, one of the parked vehicles ignites, setting the entire room aglow with flames. At a quiet tire shop, everything seems routine until a sudden blast shatters the calm. Within seconds, smoke and fragments fill the air, turning an ordinary day into turmoil. At a congested junction, the bus struggles to stop in time. In a heartbeat, it collides with a compact car ahead, the impact reverberating through the crossing. The car loses grip on the icy surface and starts to skid sideways. With no control remaining, it smashes into the line of parked cars. The driver lost control and crashed straight into a pricey parked car, turning a mistake into an expensive accident. A cyclist crosses the road without getting off. The car ahead brakes sharply to avoid hitting him, but the vehicle behind can't stop in time and crashes into it. Here, a speeding car slams into a truck at full force, yet remarkably, everyone survived. A man pours petrol on the road, chasing a dramatic effect. But when the flames catch his own car, he's forced to jump out and sprint for his life as it erupts into fire. Losing control on the ice, the truck slides off the road and barrels toward the sidewalk. In seconds, it crashes straight into a city storefront, shattering glass and scattering debris everywhere. A compact car loses control and crashes into an ambulance ahead. The blow sends the emergency vehicle skittering across the ice, sliding helplessly toward the shoulder. Driving along a frozen shoulder, the truck's wheel slips onto the snowy verge. As it spins helplessly, the huge vehicle begins to slide until it finally tips off the road into the drift below. As the truck rumbles down the road, a hefty icicle snaps off its roof. In an instant, it crashes onto a passing car, a chilling reminder of hidden winter hazards. At an intersection, a small mound of dirt and a downed tree sit in the middle of the road. A speeding car strikes them head-on, launching into the air before smashing back down with a thunderous impact. On the icy road, a car loses control and skids into an oncoming lorry. The impact is savage, and within seconds, the car erupts into flames. A moment of lapse is all it takes. One vehicle slams into another, the quiet street erupting with the screech and grind of metal on metal. The plane wavers in the air, struggling to keep its heading. Moments later, it plunges to the ground, sending a vast cloud of smoke billowing skyward. A car carrier lorry hauling several vehicles loses balance on the road. Within moments, it tips over, sending the loaded cars tumbling across the asphalt. A heavy lorry drifts too near the shoulder. It plows into a parked car, crushing the smaller vehicle beneath its weight. Losing command on a calm stretch, the driver drifts offline. The car smashes into a pole, the hit reverberating through the quiet air. A small car cuts sharply in front of a truck, forcing the driver to swerve left. The truck smashes into another alongside it, while the reckless car speeds away from the scene. A sudden turn goes disastrously wrong as an SUV climbs over another car. In seconds, the smaller vehicle is squashed beneath its weight. A car began smashing into everything around it, and a nearby motorist rushed over, only to find, unbelievably, that a dog was at the wheel trying to steal the car. On a quiet village lane, a driver loses control. The car veers off course and slams straight into a utility pole. The car loses control on the icy pavement, sliding sideways into approaching traffic. Within seconds, it crashes into a moving truck, the impact rattling the entire roadway. At a smelting facility, a driver carefully tips waste into the molten pool. Suddenly, the molten metal bubbles and erupts, splashing searing liquid onto the vehicle. A firefighting helicopter hovers low over the lake to scoop up water. But with a sudden loss of control, it tips and plunges straight into the water below. A patrol car races through with its lights flashing. Suddenly, it slides on the slick roadway and slams hard into the roadside fence. A driver moves to overtake, pulling into the adjacent lane without checking ahead. But another car is already there, and the two collide instantly. A reckless driver tries to cut someone off, pushing the limit. But the car fishtails out of control and slams straight into a roadside fence. A man steps into the road, oblivious to the danger ahead. The speeding lorry swerves to avoid him, but the shoulder collapses, sending the massive vehicle plunging into the river below. The small car skids across the icy road, spinning out of control. Within moments, it slides into the opposite lane and crashes into an oncoming vehicle. On a snowy roadway, a car loses traction and starts to slide sideways. Within moments, it slams into a stone wall, scattering debris across the white landscape. Two aircraft collide mid-air, spiraling out of control. Moments later, one slams into the ground and detonates in a massive fireball. A driver attempts to stage a crash, swerving sharply toward a nearby car. When that fails, they reverse straight into another vehicle, unaware the whole stunt is captured on camera. The camera captures a startling scene, a bus engulfed in towering flames. Thick smoke billows skyward as the fire devours the vehicle within moments. At a busy junction, one error triggers chaos. 5 cars crash in a massive chain reaction, turning the crossing into a scene of wreckage. A tranquil street turns tumultuous as a car slides into a bus's lane. In an instant, serenity yields to disaster. A peaceful ride turns fatal when the driver loses command of the wheel. The car swerves off the roadway and crashes hard into a tree. Hitting a slick stretch of ice, the driver fights to regain control. But the skid only intensifies, ending in a violent collision with a car coming from the opposite direction. The driver lost control and slammed into a building, which instantly caved in onto the car, entombing it beneath the debris. Traffic moves smoothly along the busy avenue when, with a sharp bang, the manhole covers rocket into the air, startling everyone nearby. An SUV speeds along the shoulder, kicking up dust as it goes. Suddenly, a fence appears ahead. The vehicle slams into it and rebounds into the air from the impact. An SUV abruptly changes lanes without indicating. The driver behind swerves to avoid it and ends up crashing straight into a roadside pole. A driver shows off by drifting in a supermarket car park. But the thrill ends quickly. The car spins out of control and crashes into a pole. At a crowded junction, a car speeds through and slams into a passing van. The collision is so forceful that the van overturns, coming to rest on its side. A car rear-ends the vehicle ahead, the impact jolting it off course. Moments later, it crashes into a roadside pole, coming to an abrupt stop. Crazy crashes, epic saves. Don't blink. Like and subscribe for more jaw-dropping moments.